Get out of Ethereum. With any investment, it's always about risk to reward. It's always about relative valuation. Is something comparatively expensive or comparatively cheap? And historically, Ethereum is very expensive. Look at this. This is Ethereum dominance. So currently, roughly 20% of all of cryptocurrency's market cap is in Ethereum. And this is a very long-term chart. It starts in July of 2017. At the bottom, after the crypto winter, it went down to 7%. Now it's at 20%. See how historically we have rarely been above 20%. We have been in the sidewards trading range, this tighter range, since May of 2021. So roughly 2 years. And the current momentum isn't that pretty. Ethereum is already losing ground, and there's way more room to the downside than to the upside. Now, one could make the argument that more people simply just realize that Ethereum is the better asset and it should be a larger fraction of all of crypto. One could argue that this is the fair value, the fair part of crypto that's currently locked up in ETH. And the argument always resolves around the ultra sound money principle, as in Ethereum is getting burnt, right? It's not inflationary anymore. The number of ETH is actually contracting over time. Not super quickly, but still, at least there's no inflation. Bitcoin still does have inflation. Every year, new Bitcoin hits the market due to mining. But what are the potential risks that could bring Ethereum further down? There's centralization risk. So a lot of the validators are now hosted by AWS. Bitcoin tends to be less centralized. Then there is competition. There are a lot of other smart contract platforms that try to take away market share from Ethereum, which over the long term actually works out pretty well, right? Look at this graph over here. In blue, this is the total value locked for Ethereum. Over the years, this tends to rather go down. But then we also have the regulatory risk. Gary Gensler famously did not say in front of Congress whether or not Ethereum is a security. And probably the SEC wants it to be a security because there are some parts of Ethereum that the SEC especially doesn't like. One of them being the burn mechanism. So the SEC was referring to token burn as a form of getting value through the efforts of others. But then there's also proof of stake, so the accrual of tokens to the people that lock it up. And for some reason, the SEC seems to be preferring proof of work over proof of stake cryptocurrencies. I am not saying that Ethereum definitely will be declared a security, but what I am saying is that there is still this tiny sliver of risk. The risk that Bitcoin definitely does not have. And when you've got all these potential risks and a historically high valuation of Ethereum, why would you be so heavy in the asset? You can also look at this in terms of Ethereum relative to Bitcoin, right? The chart doesn't look that different. So here again, Ethereum could easily underperform Bitcoin by 20% if things go really, really bleak and we see a crypto winter. We have seen it even underperforming 74%, right? This is the kind of magnitudes we have seen in the past. We can also look at this in a slightly modified version. So what we've got over here is a bit of a more complex formula. So we are looking here at Ethereum's market cap, and we divide this by cryptocurrency's total market cap, but we actually remove the market cap of a few stable coins here as well, of the largest ones, of DAI, of Tether, of USDC, and of BUSD. So we are now looking at Ethereum relative to the crypto market that is not stable coins, and that's 23%. So that's basically an adjusted Ethereum dominance. And here, what's really the potential upside versus downside? It doesn't look pretty. I'm not saying that Ethereum has to go down in terms of US dollars, but to me, it looks relatively likely that it's going to underperform at least Bitcoin. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a fortune teller, but I simply just look at this in terms of risk versus reward. The upside is very much limited, again, relatively speaking, but there is massive downsides. There are doomsday scenarios that might really push down Ethereum. So I'm not bullish. I bet rather on Ethereum underperforming Bitcoin, at least over the next few weeks.